Welcome, everyone, to the regular meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission. Today's date is Thursday, May 20th. Can I have the first item on the agenda, please?
Roll call. Commissioners Deaver.
Present.
Vanessian.
Present.
Lee.
Present.
Wagner.
Present.
Chairperson Kevanian.
Here.
The agenda for the May 20th meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on May 14th, 2010. Item 2, consent items. At 2A, approval of regular commission meeting minutes from April 15th, 2010 at 2 p.m.
Move approval. Second.
There is a comment.
Comment.
Commissioner Deaver.
Under Spaces for the Arts, under item 6, a national, Ford Foundation National is actually a descriptive. It's not part of the official name, so it should be not capitalized. This is a minor thing, sorry. And then under National Endowment for the Arts, if you could add in, it's creating arts corridors nationally, which is key. Thank you.
Which item?
Item 6, under Commission staff comments.
And it was creating
Arts corridors.
arts corridors.
cultural
Oh,
corridors.
creating corridors as opposed to what kind of corridors?
Okay. Any other corrections? Comments? Okay. None. Can we?
As amended.
Yes. Objective.
I will amend my motion to add those corrections.
Okay. And
And I'll second it.
okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Deaver.
Yes.
Vanessian.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
Chairperson Kevanian.
Yes.
Item 3, introductions and presentations. At 3A, introduction of the visual and performing arts programs and the grant awarded to the Mark Keppel Elementary School by Dr. Mary Mason.
I am pleased to welcome Dr. Mary Mason, the principal of the Mark Keppel Elementary School. She is here to talk about the great visual and performing art programs in their school, as well as share the magnet grant they have received. They have just completed to transform Keppel into a magnet elementary school in Glendale Unified School District. Welcome.
Welcome, and thank you for having us here. It's very honored to be here this afternoon, and I want to introduce my assistant principal, Lisa Sondergaard, and we're here to talk a little bit about our school, and we're very passionate about the arts at Mark Keppel Elementary School, and we want you to know that they're alive and well in our school district. And I just would like a point of clarification. We wrote a grant, a Magnet School Assistance Program grant, which was received in Washington, D.C. on May 3rd. It is not only for our school. There are 3 elementary schools writing in together. One was Thomas Edison as a technology magnet, Benjamin Franklin as an International Foreign Language Academy magnet, and Keppel as the Visual and Performing Arts magnet. So the magnet grant is for all 3 schools. We submitted it on May 3rd. We have not received it, although we are crossing all of our fingers and toes. We will hear at the end of August. So we're going to hope that that comes through. The entire grant was for $7.5 million over a period of 3 years for all of the 3 schools to really transform and reinvent those 3 schools within their each particular areas of focus. So we're very excited about that possibility to transform our school into a visual and performing arts magnet. But there is a lot of arts going on at Keppel, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing now and where we hope to go with the grant. And we are also very blessed, as you are, to have Joylene Wagner on your commission. She's part of our school board, and she, before becoming a school board member in our district, she taught K2 music at our school. So we know how much loved she is.
It was so fun.
Yeah,
And you were so
you're still very much missed, but we love having you on our school board.
Thank you.
So, you've probably heard this quote, but above all, the question becomes then, to whom does the future belong? Use your heart, use your body, use your spirit, and use your mind, because the future belongs to those that can imagine it. And as we think of what we can imagine quite a lot for our school. So we began at Keppel in 1990 with the creation of our Make Keppel Special Foundation. Now, our foundation is a group of parents who work very hard to raise money. And since about 1994, they have been raising money every year for arts, added arts instruction. And so it began very humbly in 1994 with the addition of a startup of our drill team for the purpose of dance and competition. Then they hired an extra orchestra teacher after school for advanced orchestra students and a Friday choral teacher. So when I first came to Keppel in 1994, I remember Mrs. Abbott, who taught choral music every Friday, and the kids filtered in all throughout the day, and that's where we started. In 2001, we then expanded so that now every third grader learns how to play the recorder. And that has been going on since 2001. They go into the classroom during the school day and for a half an hour each period, and by open house time, they'll present a little something for the parents on the recorder. In 2003, we started expanding even more to a visual arts program. And now we keep expanding. So in 2006, we actually rewrote our mission statement to include the arts. And we started up a Keppel Arts Integration Committee, and we have parents who chair this committee who are also part of our foundation. So our new mission statement is basically, in the second sentence, we added the integration of the arts across the curriculum. So because we really felt that at our school, arts is passion. It's our passion. We have many of our parents who are workers, employees of the entertainment industry, so it's always been a focus for our school. So I'm sure you know Sir Ken Robinson, who has written a lot about the arts. And so some of the quotes I'm going to share really kind of bring out, I think, our philosophy that there about misconceptions about creativity. One is that only special people are creative. The assumption is that real creativity is an exceptional capacity that's limited to people of rare ability. So he's saying that's a misconception, like Martha Graham, Picasso, Einstein, and celebrities. I'm convinced that this viewpoint is profoundly mistaken. In reality, we are all born with tremendous creative potential. Another misconception is that creativity is confined to certain sorts of activities like the arts or design. The truth is that we can be creative in anything that involves the active use of our intelligence. We can be creative in math, architecture, in relationships, in science, running a business, anything. Anything that involves the human mind is a potential source of creativity. So as we were thinking about what we wanted to do with this grant, we have wonderful art specialists who come in and teach the different genres of art. But it's not just that as a discrete subject, it's also integrated within the curriculum. You can be creative in math, creative in science. Anything that you see in front of you, this computer, was all designed by someone. So I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but we really believe that creativity transforms all content areas. So our committee then decided in 2006, we had a vision that in the next 5 years, we wanted every student within the school day to have an arts period paid for through our foundation in all of the 4 genres of the arts: dance, music, theater, and the visual arts. So 2 years ago, we divided the year into semesters, and each child received 2 disciplines. So that expanded our amount of fundraising to about $20,000. Last year, and this year we decided we're going to move into trimesters. So now each child receives arts in 3 of the disciplines. And you'll see on the next chart, our foundation raises about $35,000 a year. So this is what we have this year. And in each of the grade levels, K-5, you'll see what those students receive. So for instance, kindergarten, first trimester, they had visual arts once a week. And the periods last anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour. And then the second trimester, they had drama. And then the third trimester, they had a music program, which teaches some fundamentals. And so each grade level then has 3 different disciplines, being that our vision is all 4 disciplines, every student, every year. So we're almost there, and we're hoping that the grant will again allow us to do that. So this is our visual arts bungalow that it was a classroom, and with declining enrollment, it was empty, and so we've really transformed it, repainted it, and this is our visual arts space. So the students attend weekly classes in our visual arts bungalow, and that's all during the school day. I love this quote, "Make no little plans, they have no magic to stir men's blood." You know, we like to dream big at Keppel, and so we're going to continue to do that. So this initial planning happened in 2007, and I thought it might be kind of nice to just show you in the pink colors, that's what we have now. And in the blue color, that's what we want to continue to have if we receive the grant. So one of the things that we have now, we have on-site professionals. We have someone who teaches visual arts, someone who teaches drama, someone who teaches dance. So we have those folks. But where we're in blue and where we hope to have with our music center, we have a partner with the Music Center of Los Angeles and the Armory Center. We wrote that into the grant. So where we hope to be is integrating the arts throughout all core content. So we're not there yet, and that's where we hope the grant will get us, with the Armory Center teaching artists and with the Music Center actually coming in and working with our teachers. The other thing is developing habits of mind. This was from the Harvard College. Harvard University has developed attributes, if you will, for creative, artistic thinkers, which we again think goes across content. So what we want to teach is that students develop craft. The nice thing about the arts is they teach children to engage and persist and work through problems and not be confined by, I don't know the answer. So to go beyond that. To envision, to express, to observe, reflect, stretch and explore, and really understand how they are part of their art world. So the grant has given us the opportunity to find some business partners in our community. We have Interact Theater, who has agreed to be our business partner. So if the students then perform a play, then they would go and actually go to a live play and be able to talk to the artists, the actors, the directors, the stage designers after the play is over. The same thing, if they have done a dance performance, then we want to go take them to a real professional dance performance. So the grant has built in yearly field trips for the students as well as for the teachers, so that we can also develop our own cultural awareness and appreciation. So again, the value of the arts is clear. It's not that we don't value, academic excellence is always what we're about, students' high achievement, and we think the arts allows children to focus, allows children to really excel in areas where they might not normally feel like they excel. So just the last quote, I think, is a good one too. People who don't sing attend concerts. People who don't paint purchase paintings. One marvelous aspect of the arts is that they cognitively stimulate both those who do them and those who observe others do them. The arts are a total win-win situation. The doers and the observers both discover something about the further reaches of it. So we're just very proud of our program at Keppel. We're very proud to share it with you, and certainly take any questions that you might have.
Dr. Mason, I want you to explain, when you get this grant, which I'm sure you will, hopefully,
Yes.
How is it going to be for people within the community? Should only people who are within your zone for coming to Keppel participate, or are you going to be open for, how is that going to be processed?
Yes, and I know the school board has discussed this conversation as well. Our attendance boundaries will not be what they are currently. So people who are already in our school will obviously stay in our school. It will be for the open positions, mostly as new kindergartners come in, or any open spots. Then there would be a lottery. And if you live within a half mile of the school, there would be some priority there. It is a desegregation magnet, so students who might be from lower performing schools would also be given priority to come into our school. And so but it will be a lottery system for just the open positions.
For Glendale Unified.
For Glendale Unified School.
Thank you very much. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Oh, I must have missed it. What was the grant that you put in for?
Magnet Schools Assistance Grant. So it is it's from the federal government,
Okay. What department of the federal government?
Department of Education.
Okay, great. Wonderful. I wish you luck with it. Fingers
Thank you
crossed.
so
It sounds like a
much.
great opportunity.
Commissioner Reger?
I just wanted to mention that in addition to their arts program, they also have a dual language Korean program. So that includes a good deal of art. I always lament that our children in the dual language programs generally get more music than our kids in regular programs. And of course, they get music
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
everywhere. So
Our dual language program is fantastic.
I would like to applaud you for going for such a grant because they say that the many languages you speak, the more flexibility to your mind into thinking process. Art is another language which is infinite in itself. So it's a wonderful, wonderful idea. I'm so proud of our district and
Yeah, I'm
Keppel
proud of our
for
district.
adopting this grant.
Well, it's just bring it on. You know, I can never have enough. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
We applaud all the work that you do, and you know you have our support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
see you soon.
Okay, yeah.
Come back and let us know.
Okay, I will. I'll be honored to. We hope this is the first of many presentations. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving along. Next item, please.
Item 4, oral communications. Discussion is limited to items not on this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Commission may question the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. Staff may refer the matter for investigation and report.
Okay, I have 2 cards. The first one is Bethune Theater Dance. Zena Bethune and Jane Walsh.
Hello. Some of you we've met before. This is Jane. I'm Zena. We did want to speak to you again about the company. I think you're somewhat familiar with who we are now, and we've brought some more stuff for you just in case you need it again. We very much thank you, Armin, for inviting us to speak again because we're really looking forward to our residency here and our new home. What we're looking for is to create 2 things, an academy and a performing arts space. And we're working towards it being a world-class academy so that the kids who graduate can come. We have to talk with you. Okay. Because we're celebrating our 30th year of arts, more specifically in our educational division for disabled or challenged children. We have started in the last few years a full inclusion program with the 2 schools where we've been out in this direction, Loma Alta and Charles Elliott School. So it's all inclusion. And we want the academy to be that as well, with the focus, obviously, on challenged children so that the curriculum really addresses not only inclusion of those challenged children and regular ed kids, but that the curriculum is building towards jobs, building towards people who are part of the community, not on SSI for the rest of their life. And we believe art is the way to do that, and we've certainly seen over 30 years that that's the way it's happened. We feel quite remarkable. Many of our kids have been on tour with us to Italy, to China, to Japan, to Switzerland, to Canada. They've graduated, they've stayed in the world of art, and they hold jobs. And we're very proud of that. So we really are desirous of creating an academy here in Glendale. It's a world-class academy. We'd like to start this summer. We're hoping that there is a space that the commission can recommend that may be a pro bono space for us to begin. I know you mentioned the Edison Center. What's amazing to me is one of our first schools from 25 years ago was the Edison School, and our logo, no one ever told me I couldn't dance. They only said I couldn't walk. Came from a little boy named Diego from that school, our logo. So it's sort of come full circle. But would really like to talk further with you and would like your direction as to where one, what areas you feel we should be in. We do approach a lot of inner city kids, Dance for All. These kids don't get these opportunities, and we'd like to make sure we create those opportunities. And a line through. We're working with Glendale Community College because we want to create a line through from elementary to middle to high school to college, because so many of these kids, inner city and our special needs kids, don't really understand that they have a resource and it's themselves, and higher education can be for them. So we've been able to get that idea across through the arts. So we're trying to work with Glendale Community College as well. So that's a lot of the focus of the Academy, is to create this line through with the focus on special needs. And the other is we're hoping one day to have a performing arts center and a wonderful space where we can do our major multimedia productions and have a place for these kids to apprentice. So we can guarantee you graduate, you're going to have a place to work. You're going to have an apprentice and work. And it gives these kids a track record. So it's not like, okay, finish school and then what? We hope to be able to guarantee apprenticeships so that people will start creating a resume and be able to be out there in the work. And Jane has been very instrumental in working this program and project coordinating for the program and working with our development division and our development director. And we're very excited about it, but really want your directive and want some advice from you as to where you think we might be able to go, and that a space that might be available for us to start, hopefully this summer, with a special needs group. I know there are programs needed in the summer. We're ready and willing to start. So that's kind of it for the moment. We just want to find a space and begin and offer this to the community.
Commissioner Wagner?
I have a couple questions. You have a location now on Barham. Is that just office space?
That's just office space.
So you're currently not. Are you offering classes somewhere?
Oh, yes. We have close to 14 sites. We're in Hollywood. We're in not in Ventura County at the moment. We're in Orange County. We're in Long Beach. We're in North Hollywood. We're in Pasadena.
And you offer generally after-school kinds of programs?
Both. We have both.
Both.
In-school programs and after-school community center programs.
But when you talk about opening an academy, you're talking about a dance academy as opposed to a school?
It would be dance, drama.
But an after school, not a
Yes.
charter school,
Correct.
for instance.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. To qualify a difference, absolutely. It would be academy that's not necessarily a charter or a magnet school, right? But academy for all arts, and we're very involved with video, and we do a lot with our videographers so that kids can understand what it's like to be in front of the camera and behind the camera. So we do a lot with that as well.
You've been in touch with the special ed department at Glendale Community College, or with?
Yes, with Joy Cook.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And have you had any conversation with the Glendale Unified yet?
Not yet. Not yet. We've had a little trouble getting them to make an appointment. I think it's because of the time of year.
Well, people are pretty busy right now. It's
Exactly.
It's a very very difficult time, but I will certainly give them greetings and alert them.
We would appreciate that. I mean, ideally, we would like to have the academy and also to be in the school programs, because we do both.
Well,
We have after-school and school programs, so.
I would refer you both to our Director of Special Ed, or Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Amy Lambert,
Okay.
and our new incoming Director of, I'm not sure Director is the right title, but I think it is, of EELP, Kelly King, who does the after-school programs, who's currently principal at Edison, but will be moving into that district-wide position.
And is there anything further you would need us to do to further a discussion about what places might be available in Glendale that could be city-supported, that would be available for us to start an academy? Does this seem like it's a possibility, or?
Well, I think what would be helpful would be knowing what exactly you need. So how large of space do you need? What type of access do you require because you're dealing with kids that are to be transported in some way? Certainly, I'm sure that there are certain areas or neighborhoods that you feel more akin to because there are community centers that maybe you're programming in already. So I think if you could provide even a fact sheet of this is how square footage we need, these are our current partners, these are neighborhoods that we've been working in. These are some other, I know it's really difficult for organizations that don't currently have a home to just take on new space. So, what can you afford? Are you looking at rental? Are you looking at ownership? Are you looking at potentially sharing space with other dance companies or other performing arts companies to better make it possible to pay the overhead costs of that space? What kind of term of lease would be reasonable? And if these are things that you have formulated and can share that, or if this is a way to sort of start that dialogue amongst your board and coming up with that and then come back to us when you have more information, I think that would be great.
We definitely can put together a fact sheet.
Super.
Of what we're trying to accomplish, at least initially, with an overall goal. Yes.
And handicap, accommodations that might be needed. That's essential for finding a location.
Yeah. And shall we just put that in a letter and address it to the commission? Or shall we come back and put it on the agenda and...
Well, probably we can work that through staff.
Okay.
And that would be probably the more convenient way. And then staff can forward that information up to us. Commissioner Wagner?
Or they might go directly to, like, Parks and Rec, who actually has facilities. We don't have much in the way of control, but we can, we have ideas and
Right,
thoughts,
and really the purpose of inviting Zena and Jane over and over again is because what we do as a body is to direct you into the right place, because we really ourselves as a body don't have control over specific venues and sites. But again, what I was telling you about Edison was just a suggestion. Some place to start, just as an idea, so you can see what the city has to offer in terms of locations. And then, of course, like I said, we can work through staff and put you in touch with the right people, like Commissioner Wagner just did.
Okay.
In terms of the school board and so on.
All right, so when we
Wagner?
pull that list together, we will call Ribsame,
And send it to
and
me
you'll
in
tell us what
writing.
the next step is.
As soon as we have that information, we will arrange a meeting, maybe.
Early
with the director of
education,
parks
early education
or other
and
departments.
And extended
So now
learning
we can
programs.
address your needs.
Sorry.
That we're just,
I was trying to figure out the acronym or the letter. Yeah.
Of course, Armin has seen our major
Yes.
productions.
Yes,
so he's familiar with-
which is why I have to be very honest. I'm so behind what you guys are doing. I want to find a way to help as much as I can, because what the work that you guys do is
Amazing.
it brings tears to your eyes. Really,
phenomenal.
it really does. It's really uplifting.
Do you have extras so you could give to the audience?
Yes.
That would be great.
We absolutely do. Thank you very much. We'll pull this together and call Ribsame.
One more thought, and it certainly is brought to mind by our presenters from Mark Keppel School, and that would be if you had a stack we could send out to our other to our foundations at our schools, because you may have success or not, starting in the middle at the district office, or you may find that there are foundations who are looking for a program. I don't know.
So what I'll check with Ribsame as to how many packets we should send you. Groups of the bio with the DVD. Is that what you want with?
You mean the flyers?
Yeah.
As many as you can. In order...
Well, I think it might be. I'll find out, and you can call me. There's my card.
Okay. All right, because we can send you as many as you
It doesn't
want.
need to come through us. It might just
Right.
be better going from you to, and you could send a
Well, just
packet
email where
addressed
to
to all
send
to the schools or something. We have 20 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, 4 high schools, and some other schools.
Okay.
5 high
We'll get
schools.
your card.
5 high schools.
Five
Yes.
high schools.
I was thinking of the
We've-
comprehensive or almost comprehensive.
Covered all populations and all age groups, so it's not a problem for us.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. The other card I have is Ashley McLean Eminger. Did I say that right? That's why I had to write it down.
Yeah, that's why I spell it out phonetically. I have it down pat on phone conversations. Thank you very much for the opportunity for me to be here. I had called Rip Samay, or actually emailed. I noticed there's been a huge surge in the emphasis on the cultural and the arts in the city of Glendale, from the storefront windows to the art walk to the registry that you're creating. So there's a lot going on, and I took note of that. Unfortunately, I'm on your email list. And I'm doing I'm helping us get the word out about an exhibition that's at an alternative space in Atwater Village. So I had approached her about possibly including it in your newsletter, and here I am. She generously called me and invited me to come to this and to introduce you to the event. And I think, I'll tell you about the exhibition. It's an experimental one. It's in a 12,500 foot alternative warehouse space, and it's in Atwater Village. And I think that there may be some long-term compatibility with the city of Glendale, because it's just in your backyard. It took me 5 minutes to drive here, because the gentleman who owns the building is really interested in turning that into sort of a cultural center. There's theaters there. They recently hosted a performance with an experimental cellist who turned down Disney Hall to do it at the space, and is she all right? But so in other words, he's really trying to bring a lot of energy and cultural identity to that area. So perhaps there's some exchange that's possible, and hence I wanted to come and talk to you about this exhibition. The woman who is curating this exhibition is from New York. She was inspired by the space of Los Angeles because New York is hyper-condensed. We're hyper-condensed in our own little pockets, but we're all over the place. So she thought, this is an exhibition. There's 40-plus artists. There is in this warehouse space, both in the offices and on the floor. Opening night features performances by Lucky Dragons, who's a performative group here in Los Angeles, performs at Mocha. Keep Away, which is a band out of Brooklyn. And then there's a performance art by Arturo Vidic. So these are opening night, and then the exhibition lasts for 2 weeks. And it's hyper-ambitious. And I say Godspeed to her. So that is happening, and I wanted to invite you to it. I have flyers for it, but also you be aware of the space. I think if there's anything I can tote over there with me. She's worried about attendance tomorrow night. I'm like, it's a group show with 40 artists. You're going to be fine, Mm-hmm. And it's experimental in that, and also to the reason that she brought in performances, because she's taking the idea of volume as her theme. They're going to change the space, alter the space, build within the space, site-specific installation, and then she wanted to fill up volume in the space itself, hence the performances. So, and again, I have invitations for you. And I think that was really what I wanted to say, because I do think I was grilling the curator to get at the intention of the gentleman who owns it. Is like, this is altruistic, right? There's some artsy altruism going on here, and not just a marketing ploy. So I really do think possibly there's something that could be beneficial to everyone down the line. So,
we are very much familiar with the space. Last year, many artists, in 2008, many artists participated to our Open Studio tour from that location. And
The Seeley Building?
Well, at one projects, but I don't know if it has many guises and names. That's how I'm familiar with it.
can you give us the address again?
Sure. It's may I give these to you?
Sure.
I feel like I can't cross the line.
Yeah, you
It's like,
can.
don't feed me.
Security.
Exactly. And we just got a little blurb in the LA Times supplement brand up, so bring,
Sorry, it's me.
crowds. Here you go.
Is this near where Circle X is theater company is? There's a different
Yeah,
area.
there's 3 theater companies
Okay.
that are there.
Okay.
I don't know their names specifically, but
3229.
collaboration is really an emphasis. Thank you. Of course. Thank you for this opportunity, too. Pleased to be here. I was going to say, you should talk to the armory, but you're already all over it. Would you like? Yes. I don't want to Oh, that's perfect. Of course.
In the meantime, do we have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I think they were the space itself was in the. I remember seeing this address in our open studio tour.
Yeah, there's some open studios that are going on tomorrow.
Because that's one of the groups that I went to out of the 20-something studios I went to.
Right.
So I'm familiar with the location.
Good,
So it's
and
a
you
good
should
fit.
come. It's going to be an experience. They're sort of They've got cranes running around installing the work, and there's going to be 40, and they're New York-based artists and Los Angeles-based artists, and a lot of them are doing site-specific. So I can only imagine the curator's biting her fingernails like, please let it work, please let it work. But it all would come together and be great.
Well, tell her about our open studio tour if they're going to be around until July.
It's a pop-up space, and it's short-lived, but I will tell her about it. Because the exhibition's only up for 2 weeks. In terms of incorporating it, or in terms of?
They're probably going to sign up for our open studio tour for the location anyway.
Oh, great.
So at least they know of it to whoever wants to utilize the space or discuss it with the owner there and be part of our open studio tour again.
I think that would be fantastic. Is there any literature that I could take with me, or is it a follow-up phone call? Because I know you need more phone calls in your life.
How did you know?
Yeah, no, I was actually.
Well,
I said,
actually,
you're dealing
we
with
have
artists.
received already some applications from that location, and I will contact you and
Sure,
see.
and I'll facilitate whatever I can.
I'm sure there are some artists who have permanent spaces there.
And there's some sort of open studio that's going on, as if there weren't enough, having 2 curated spaces and bands and performances. There's also some sort of art walk or open studios that's taking place tomorrow.
All right.
So, thank you.
Any other comments?
I just want to say I wasn't aware of it, just peripherally, so I'm very excited about
Good.
it and hope to be there. And I'm glad that you're on our email list and, you're getting our newsletter, so pass that along to any artists and all that you know, too.
No,
'cause we're trying to build
absolutely.
that
And
up.
I teach visual artists the business side of art. And so I'm always very open to supporting people who are supportive of artists. I don't think artists realize how much support is out there. They just need to know where to look.
Do you have a card yourself?
I don't, which is silly because I do so many things, so they get dispersed. I can scribble something for you. Or I'll scribble on
or
this.
email. It's fine.
her email's
Yeah, why don't
on
you
there.
give me
Is it on here?
Yeah.
Do you have your business
read
card,
that.
and I'll follow up with you?
Actually, I have your contact information right here, so I will send. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah,
Great. Thank you so much for
really,
this opportunity.
Thank you so much for coming because, this stuff is cool.
Yeah, and you guys are really kicking up your
Sorry.
own volume on the,
That was
the
very
art,
political
so.
of me, but no.
Official
I'm,
vernacular.
This is exactly. This is really interesting.
Great.
I'm
I
an
hope to see
artist,
you
so
there.
I love crazy things like this.
It's going to be zany.
An art show called Volume. I love that.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And we'll make sure you get a lot of information about the open studio tour.
Sure.
Because my personal goal this year is to make it
Bigger.
a quarter larger than the year before, than the last time.
You're already throwing the seeds out there by the newsletter and hearing from you and the RTF that you did for the windows. I think a lot more people are starting to take note of the activity. So I think the seeds I think you will probably reach, if not exceed that. I'm just being optimistic for you. I think you've got doing the good groundwork. So, and whatever I can do, I will help.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you,
Have a good one.
Ashley.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item, please.
Item 5, business agenda. 5A, action items for discussion only. At 5A1, discussion of temporary art display policies in public parks and parks facilities.
Okay. This item
Buckle your
was requested
seatbelts.
to be on the agenda. Should I wait? Good.
There's a mass exodus, and we're.
Were they going to put in I thought
Yeah.
perhaps they were putting in a card.
Okay.
Did you want to?
Do you want to? We can.
Bye-bye, thank you.
We get to talk.
We sure know how to clear out a room, don't we?
Boy, you sure do.
Go, move on to action items, and everybody's out the door.
Actually, that's usually my job. Well, we weren't on your agenda, so thank you for giving us the opportunity. My name is Tyler Wright, and this is Rick Dennis. I'm the president and CEO of the YMCA of the Foothills in the La Cañada area. Rick is our chief development officer with our YMCA, and we're here really to learn a little bit more about some of the cultural activities that are going on within the city itself and within the area itself. Our YMCA is positioned right now very strategically to start making some sort of impact within our community with the resources that we have at hand. We've had conversations with the school district and certain school district officials about some of the educational gaps that might be that might have an opportunity for the YMCA, an organization like ours, to come in and help. I have a passion and a background with the arts itself, and so this is particularly an area that I'm very interested in. Nationally, our YMCA actually has a branch called Y Arts and Humanities, which is a little-known faction of what we do, but across the country we have several collaborative efforts with cities, with other organizations, and with schools when it comes to arts initiatives, humanity initiatives, and so on and so forth. So we're really essentially gleaning as much information as we can. Our board begins to drop into a retreat type of mode over the course of the next 4 months, beginning tomorrow, to take a look at strategically where we're going from in my vernacular, making an impact in some sort of cause-driven organization. So, as I said, we're just here to kind of gather as much information as possible to see where we can help. As most of you are aware, part of our service area for our YMCA is the La Crescenta, Montrose area, which is obviously falls within the Glendale sphere of influence. So that's kind of why we're here, and we're hopefully to have some open dialogue with our sisters here to the south at the Glendale YMCA as well, too, as they've hired their new CEO within the last couple of days. So.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Oh, yes. George Cycley, good friend. He'll be here hopefully soon to talk with all of you as well, too. Did you?
That was it. Mostly just anything that we can do to help out from the arts position, or anything that we can use as the facility. We've talked to Ripsa May and see about for the open tour if our facility might be something that would work. If it works, great. We're more than welcome to try and do that. So it's anything collaborative that we can do with the Glendale Y, the school district, or the commission. We're wide open.
What kind of collaboration could you have with the after-school programs?
We currently run a few different programs, anything from sports to arts. We have run an after-school arts program up at Rosemont. We do a number of after-school sports programs. So we're sort of that type of a beast where you can say, here's what we need, and we can put that together. We go out and we'll collaborate with other artists or teachers, and then we run the program after school. Our goal is to be able to fund it with grants or outside funds, and have the students pay a nominal fee, $5, $10, $15. That's more for materials, and also they tend to show up more if they've paid anything at all.
Do you come on sites, or kids should come to you?
Yes, we go. Actually, we've done both. We go onto the site at Rosemont, and we have an arts program that I think it meets weekly on site at the Crescenta Kenyatta branch.
And is it for how many sessions? $10 to $15, you said?
For the semester.
Okay.
And she runs all the different media.
And if we provide the materials for you, still there would be a charge, or we could negotiate?
Yes. We can do either one. We found that for the most part, a nominal fee gets the parents to make sure the kids show up after school. And if it's something that they can't afford, then it can be waived. It's not really to cover the cost, it's to guarantee better attendance.
Since we have already a program and kids do show up, the attendance is the main part of them being there, so the attendance won't be an issue. It's just having good enrichment activities if you're capable to provide, and if it would be with less money, much better. Because of the budget issues, we have concerns. So could I have a card if you have with you?
Absolutely. I'd given Ripsame one of mine.
I have one.
I also have a meeting set up
Thank
next
you.
week with Dr. Sheehan and Dr. Garcia to talk a little bit about what we can do to help.
That's good.
Several friends within the school district themselves who are very concerned about where the district is headed with some of their budgetary cuts, so some of the impact that's having upon curriculum and teachers themselves. I come from, I guess that's my time. I come from the Helena, Montana area, where we launched an arts initiative in collaboration with the school district. And even though that particular district was not financially strapped, they were looking for outside type of sources, and we kind of stepped in as an organization. So my goal, when I talk with Mr. Sheehan and talk with Mr. Garcia, is to say, how can we help you? What can we do to help in any form of curriculum, whether it be physical education, arts, whatever it might be. And for me, that also would mean on school, during school hour opportunities for us to really emphasize not only what we do, but what the school district does, what the city does, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that sounds great, because, we have 27 sites after school programs, and we are looking for good collaborators to work with. And it depends what kind of activities you could provide. We could get later on in touch. Do you offer a summer program? Does the YMCA of the Foothill area?
We do. We offer a summer day camp program for all ages. Traditional day camp program.
And is there a special charge for that?
There is. There is, depending on the level of activity. We have a part-time rate, a full-time rate. Our rates differ for the age of the children itself. We have an elementary school-based program, a middle school-based program, and so on.
Sounds
I think
very
we were talking
exciting.
today a little bit about at our staff meeting about adding some arts and education to our day camp program as well. We received a grant last year, $2,500 grant? Yes. To bring some of that curriculum to our summer programs as well. But it's a tremendous time for our YMCA. I've been our CEO for 3 months, and our board is hungry and thirsty for a cause, if you will. And if education, youth development, if family enrichment are those causes, then I think we can bring a vast number of resources to help make those things become a reality.
No, I guess.
We have shuffling of papers from Commissioner
Usually when I say
O'Reilly.
when I say we have resources, I see people go,
Resources.
resources.
Commissioner Deaver?
I just want to say that we did have an opportunity to meet before, and I'm really very excited about the focus of work that you're doing, and I'm glad to have you connected up with those that are more connected to the school district than I am. And as you probably know, too, we have the newsletter that we did launch. I think you might, I don't know if you, did you receive a newsletter from us?
Your email?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So if there's any time when you need, from the other end, artists who might be teachers of any of your classes, let us know, because we can put out a call for artists with certain qualifications, whatever you need specifically. So let us know that, too.
Thank you.
Did I wonder if Dr. Sheehan suggested you come to our next regular board meeting, June 1st, so that you could make this sort of presentation where more parents, school-related people might.
He has
Stay
not.
tuned.
I know.
Well, you can,
Yeah.
it's the same thing, show up
Absolutely.
and fill out a card. We usually have 2 opportunities, one at 4 and one round about 7.
Okay.
So
That's on June 1st?
it's on Tuesday, June 1st.
Okay. I'll know a little bit more, I think, on Monday after I meet with the 2 individuals. I know Dr. Sheehan's got a lot on his plate. I think the meeting's going to be more with Dr. Garcia, who I'd met.
Who has
Who also has a
probably
lot
just
on his
as
plate
much
as well,
on his
too.
plate right now.
As well, too. And I think my approach is to come in and say, how can we help? What can we do to help you? And if the answer is we're not really sure yet, but come back to us in 6 months, okay, we'll come back to you in 6 months. But I get a sense from some of the friends that I have within the district itself, teachers, administrators, we're seeking help. We're desiring help, and if anybody comes along with an open hand, please come on board. And we have a great relationship with our schools in the northern Glendale area, especially on the high school and the middle school level. We need to do a little bit more work, I think, in the elementary age themselves. But anyway, thank you so much. Sorry to break into the party.
Appreciate the time.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's continue with scaring on people and move on to the next
They're all
item.
scared. I think they're all
Yeah.
gone.
They're all gone at this point.
At 5A1, discussion of temporary art display policies in public parks and parks facilities.
This item was requested to be on the agenda by Commissioner Deaver. As you all remember, last spring, we were directed to develop art display policies for our public parks and parks facilities. And to do that, we formed a team, and a team was able to do research, collect data, and come up with the best formula for our policy draft that we were able to develop. What's interesting, we learned from those replies. We actually got this information through the California Cities League. We approached a lot of other cities to see if they have a model policy, so we will use sample for our city's policies. It was very interesting to know that there are not that many cities who have specific policies for temporary art display for parks and their parks facilities. For example, Pasadena, they have many programs related to art in the park, but they keep it very simple. They provide waivers, artist pays for their own insurance, and it's done. Some other cities like Santa Barbara, They have very sophisticated policy for their Art in the Park programs, but it is, first of all, combined. The temporary policies are combined with the permanent displays, and they use public art initiative. Percent for art ordinance is attached to it. So because we don't have all these things, and we are going through a lot of changes, we had to come up with a formula that fits best to our parks. Now, to create the policies in our for our parks, we concentrated on some categories, like the submission, selection criteria, who can apply, selection committee and how to appeal the committee's decision, timeline for submissions, insurance requirements, list of parks and parks facilities available for temporary art displays, indoor or outdoor. The draft of that policy that we came up with was, we actually created a subcommittee. Commissioner Wagner and Chair Kivanian were part of that subcommittee who reviewed this draft of the policy and came up with some recommendations. All these changes were made, and soon after that, copy of the draft policy was sent to Risk Management and City Attorney for their review. Now, what I would like to remind you, this policy is a departmental policy, and the final approval has to come from the director of the Parks and Parks Facility, Community Services and Parks Department. As soon as we have the final copy approved, we'll be more than happy to come back to you and share the final draft of the policy.
Two things. I just wonder if you have any clue where that is in the process, and then secondly, and maybe we talked about this before, but it's been so long, would it be inappropriate for the whole commission we have to review it just as a matter of information, and in case there were any input, any additional, we have a commissioner with broad experience, to give input before a draft is further finalized?
Commission's input is welcome. At this point, we are going through some major changes, like creating the Arts Council, creating the public art fund. Maybe these things can affect on finalizing the parks policy, and we don't need to rush into that. But as of now, what we have, it has to be reviewed and made it approved by the director of the parks.
Chair Kavanian and Commission, if I may, maybe I can help Rips me out a little bit. As you know, maybe in the last several months, you've watched council. They just recently, 10 days ago, in a joint agency and council meeting, directed staff to further proceed with the urban art, and a couple months ago, they also set up the storefront art program, and they actually selected a company to administer it. In the policy, we need to coordinate, just like Ripsamy mentioned with Santa Barbara, where even though it's temporary art in the park, it looks like there's going to be more art in the city in general, and any policy for selection, removal, deaccession, selection, I think we have to coordinate it all. So I will be working with General Counsel for GRA, Jillian Van Meiden, and we'll be reviewing it, and we're hoping by the summer we'll have something, and we certainly can present it to you so that you can see it'll evolve from what was originally worked on, but because there's now a broader arts program, we have to coordinate it. If we just produced a parks policy, it could be later subsumed by a citywide policy. So for that reason, that's why we'll be coordinating it, and I'll be coordinating with another attorney to sort of beef it up.
And actually, that I'm glad. Well, in some ways, I'm glad to hear that, because that would have been my next question. This is for parks, but it would be great to be able to think of that in an expanded way. I do feel that it's certainly separate than, say, the vacant art and vacant storefronts and those other programs, but there are a lot of other facilities, both indoors and outdoors, that the city owns or oversees, that if we can expand this and be able to make those other opportunities available to artists, I think that would make a lot of sense. But, of course, like everyone, I came into this so late, so to me it's only been happening for a couple months, but I know it's been going on for a really long time, and so any time when we can get, I think, updates about definitive timelines, time as of the essence in terms of people waiting for this for perhaps a year, I think would be really helpful, because I think it's something that I'd hate to see get bogged down because there's all these other moving pieces that we sort of lose sight of it. That would really bother me greatly.
Commissioner Wagner?
I just wanted to throw in to the hopper one more party who would be interested, and that would be the Brand Library Associates, because they had sought a policy by which they could show the art they own. They have a collection that's hidden. I mean, it's locked. It's in the basement or something, and they had a couple of years ago worked at finding a way to put those pieces on display. So I'm sure they would like to be included as the plan moves forward.
I think they're going to be able to show their collection at the temporary art galleries or storefront, vacant storefront. A project is going to take them in. So their exhibition will be part of it.
Oh, good.
Yes, Commissioner?
My question to you is that would we have when everything is finalized, we are going to have the report, or could we have it while it's in the draft form, that in case anything needs to be added to it, or not added, sort of to see if we could have any input or to be of any kind of additional help or further information?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's in the draft form, we'll get it.
Yeah, we'll get it in a draft form.
Okay,
before
thank you.
But it'll be a little bit more developed than the initial draft that was developed
of
last
course.
spring. We have to take now into account some of these other art programs in the city.
Right.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, suggestions, epiphanies? No. Moving on, next item, please.
5B, reports, information only. At 5B1, update on the 6th Annual Open Studio Tour.
This is a fun thing.
We see the smile on your face right away.
Once again, the 6th Annual Open Studio Tour will be held on July 24th, and this is a great tradition in our city. I'm extremely pleased to get to share with you the response we have received from artists from our city and artists from outside of Glendale. We even had an application from all the way from Phoenix, Arizona, Denver, Colorado. I do have the application in my hand from San Diego and Santa Barbara. For some reason this year, there are so many organizations, groups that have applied. We will have the final number of the participants sometimes in early June. The deadline for the applications is May 28th, but it will take time for us to process and know exactly how many artists we have for this year. It is great to know that this valuable tradition in our city is growing every year, growing bigger and better, and we will try really hard to match what we had last time in 2008, or have a bigger number of participants at this year's Open Studio Tour. As you remember, last Open Studio Tour in 2008, we had 148 artists participating from 45 different locations. We had 1,500 visitors and $4,900 sales of artwork was sold during the Open Studio Tour. We're very excited with all the help that we are getting. Just recently, I got a call from Glendale Youth Association, who will provide us with an assistant, youth assistant, to help us out with mailing stuff or maintaining the data, which is we really need help. It's a huge project. It's a sizable event, and there are so many areas that has to be coordinated and managed, like the press releases and graphics and flyers, maps, you name it. I can't even remember everything that has to be done for this event to be a successful one. Just before sending out the call for artists, we updated all our information on our website. We do have a web page, Open Studio Tour web page since last time, and information is updated on the Glendale artsandculture.org website, and important links were created as well to make it very easy for artists to have an access to the downloadable application. Links were created on our e-newsletter, which made it very easy and saved so much time. Thank you, Commissioner Deaver, for doing that. Now it makes it much easier for artists to fill out the application and send it to us. Our focus at this point is to promote the event, to publicize, call for artists, announcement, to send out the announcement, to make sure that everybody is aware of this event in our city. To do that, we send out public relations press releases through our city's public relations department. We generated an interview with Larry Moreno of KRLA AM 87. It happened last Tuesday. So as soon as I have the link, I will send it to you. We have the press releases on, Glendale News Press generated a lot of calls and emails. We send out our email, e-blasts, and our e-newsletter. Printed version of the application was sent out to all participants from 2008. So I was very surprised to Google on Glendale Open Studio Tour and see so many pages of announcements. Many other organizations, they were posting this news on their site, like Glendale Arts, like LA Arts for LA, LA Art Guide, companies that I don't even know, some of those companies. But now we're in a stage where we have to wait and see how many applications we will get. The deadline is next Friday, May 28. We have been getting many requests, calls, and emails from artists who live outside of Glendale. So it is going to be very challenging to provide these people with space, indoor or outdoor. If they want to come and be part of our Glendale Open Studio Tour and join artists who work and live in Glendale, we encourage them in our application and in our press releases. So we have to focus on those businesses who will provide their spaces on brand. It will be desirable to have everybody close by in the downtown area, for people to be able to see more work if they're close to each other than spending their time on traveling. Of course, this is a self-guided tour, and people welcome to drive on their own and choose what kind of art they want to go and see. But from our last experience, we remember people who were showing their work in a group setting were more happier and more successful. So, like I said, as soon as we know how many artists are there who need space, then we will focus on approaching these management companies, merchant associations. I will have to talk to Lisa Glickman and reserve those spaces, indoor or outdoor. And we're hoping for a successful show this year.
Very good. First of all, I would like to commend you on this because we used to do this with a full-time staff and a part-time assistants and then 2 young people who were working, and you just doing as a part-time person in the city and with all the additional activities that you have on your plate. Thank you very much for following the tradition and doing such a good job. My question is next to Commissioner Wagner. Is there a way we could have it through Thursday folder or our GST public info also to have the last week of the school sort of send this info about the event?
We'll certainly pass it on, and we could certainly, and we can talk about it at our next meeting also.
Yes.
But,
because by our next meeting, I think
publicizing to
schools will be
students.
closed. By our next meeting, kind of the schools, I think.
No, I was thinking the school
yours.
district meeting.
Oh, that would be great.
It could certainly be announced and
Publicizing for artists, young artists to participate or
to attend.
To attend.
To
I think
attend.
to attend.
To know that there's such a display in town, and since we're becoming so art focused more or less, and we have so many artists residing in the city, and I'm sure the newcomers also would like to see what kind of artwork is being exhibited. So it would be a nice way for them to be introduced to this. And since our schools would be closed pretty soon, by I think 19th of June, is that the last day? So we could have it if everything is approved, which usually are, but nonetheless it needs to be processed. So we could do it for the last week if it works.
I just want to mention once again that we are working with very tight deadlines. We have only 8 weeks until the tour, but maybe 6 weeks until the opening reception of the event. And I talked to our park administrator, Brittany Bilotti, if we can reserve a table at the cruise night like we did last year and promote the event. This is going to happen a week before our opening reception. On July 17th was the cruise night. We can have a table for the Arts and Culture Commission, and you're welcome to volunteer to take turns and help us out to promote the event.
Commissioner Wagner?
Sign me up. My questions were whether you have a need or see a need for student volunteers, and
Much so.
so if you could just sort of maybe write out what might be expected, what they might need to do, and we could you could direct that to the district office so that they can relay it out to the schools. That's we did get a wonderful response with the Art from the Ashes connected the group, and
Yes,
students
we
are
can use
interested
their
in
help.
volunteering. And my second question is, and whether we have applied or whether maybe it's too late, for the summer interns. We used to get through the Arts Council.
I did apply for summer intern. Unfortunately, this year, LA County Commission has changed their requirements. One of them is that the applying company has to have a 501c3 status, which we didn't have.
We don't qualify.
But I sent in the application anyway. Maybe in the future, if we have Friends of Arts and Culture Commission or Arts Council, maybe can do that for us.
Question to that: are there foundations
You
that
have to be a
are
nonprofit to get that, to qualify.
Are there nonprofits that are city affiliated, like through the Clean and Beautiful Glendale? I mean, there's other
Glendale Arts.
Glendale Arts. Thank you. I was actually meant to say that. That
Well,
could
I
be a
think
partner.
Glendale Arts received the intern for summer. They applied for it and they qualified, but we just didn't have the status, 501c3 status.
The GYA youth is the GYA person going to get act as an intern for you during the course of the summer?
Yes, and it's going to be paid by them.
By GYA, great.
By GYA.
At Glendale Youth Alliance that's affiliated with the Workforce Investment Board and with the city. And
Of course, these are very different internship skilled people. Youth will be more helpful with filing or mailing out and creating labels, maybe, or those kind of things. But interns that are provided by the LA County Arts Commission, they're more from graduate school and from public arts sector.
But there may, given the state of the economy and the difficulty some students are having getting into programs at colleges because they're full, because there may be some students, if you were to talk to Glendale College, for instance, who might be willing to work for a month for the experience as an unpaid intern. I mean, that would be a possibility.
Yes, and I thought of that. We actually decided to contact actually our curator, Ramela, arts professor, and see if she can refer us to her students. This is something that has to be negotiated between the student and professor in order for them to get proper credit for working. We've just been overwhelmed with so many other things. I guess that has to wait for now.
Did you hear anything from Ms. Abamoncha, Dr. Abamoncha?
I didn't even call her. I haven't applied for it because now that GYA is sending us help, I will spend some time to training this new person, and it is going to be very, very hectic beginning next week.
Okay, sounds very good, because you know that Dr. Abamoncha was the curator for our last MIM. So, and last time also she had lots of students who came and took notes and etc. and working with her. So that could work very well, as they would get a special credit for their course as well, and then they could help with that. Would be great. So
one little inconvenience that we will have with our young assistant. Well, this person cannot go out on his own. It's always staff that has to go with that person, which means we still need help with distributing flyers, sending out maps, visiting to the exhibitors in different locations to make sure that they've been assisted.
Well,
I hope you'll prepare a schedule so we can, take our assignments. But I would also, encourage you to consider asking us from time if there are people you need to reach, or if you wanted to communicate with Glendale College and you didn't have time, if there are
Can I ask now?
Well, yeah.
No, we work with strict deadlines here on the commission.
And you know that Commissioner Wagner's word is like gold, especially in town, being the board member. So for Glendale Community College, that could do a
Glendale
lot.
Community College is the best place for us to get help
Ms.
from.
Wagner could help us with. Okay.
I'll talk with you.
And I'll talk to, give me Abamoncha's last telephone number. I'll call her, because I always have different visions for different things, but I would like to see if we could have people who would even be at the different locations that we have, who would represent the Art and Culture Commission. Also, first they would do the intake. It's interesting to see how many people come in or sign in or out or etc., which is very interesting for us to see how many people visited, and also to discuss and help and do different things for all the different locations. It would make it a little bit more kind of structured. It depends how many people can send people to us and how many people do need those credit units and etc. But it would be great. So I'll call Ms. Abamoncha, Dr. Abamoncha.
Thank you.
Sure.
It's my email to my friends and all the affiliates I know was to say that and majority of them are outside the area. So my email to them was to find a restaurant or a shop that's in Glendale.
Thank you.
Work with them, and then approach to sign up.
And one other thing I was thinking to ask you, Commissioner Lee, if you could contact through the Chinese Chambers of Commerce and invite artists from that community if they want to participate. That will be a great new addition to us.
No, they've a lot of the groups already got the email. I sent out.
And
I would say thousands
one
of
other way
contacts.
that this commission can help is by contacting the local businesses. If you have friends in the business community who can encourage artists by providing their space, by the businesses, it will work both ways. They will get promotion as well. And yes.
That was my suggestion too, and I don't know legally can we do that. It's like promote restaurants and in the businesses in this area that people after visiting all these places they would like to go somewhere and have a nice dinner and etc. So if they would sponsor in their different ways the event that we have, maybe we could collaborate with them and we could have their names as part of when we send flyers, introduce or even announce that after such and such an hour this restaurant is available and people who participate can join. I'm not saying freely, it just kind of we would collaborate. It would help because it's nice after a nice visitation of all the different beautiful artwork to go and have a beautiful dinner and end the evening in a nice note. It shows I like food, but nonetheless. So that would help, and it would promote businesses for that special day that they would be part of us. And I'm sure their family members would come to those events because we are going to join them as well. So is it okay? Would that work? Okay.
This is when I wish Amador was here because he'd plug Conrad's.
Yeah, but we need much more. Conrad's already is doing very well, but we would like to have.
Because I got that idea from former Commissioner Zen Lopez. Zen, got Patrick's Cafe the year before, and she went as far as got the Consul General of the Philippines.
Yes, we were there last year.
Attended. So along those same lines, I'll see what I can do.
Well, Patrick's Cafe has moved from San Fernando Road.
Correct.
And I think they're now, I just find out that they're on Victory. And there was a very long message today for me on my phone. Two businesses who are on Victory, both of them are very much interested in participating to this Open Studio Tour and showing some artist works. So, one other thing that I wanted to mention.
So is it Burbank?
No, it's Glendale.
Glendale.
Oh. Right on the border, actually.
Okay.
Right.
There are many questions about asking people if we can go to Eagle Rock or...
Here's a question. I understand that we're getting applications from all over Southern California and actually from Arizona. Are we still going to be using Beeline?
That was my next question.
In terms of transportation?
Definitely.
And if so...
But I'm not sure if we need to use two. All depends on the applications and the participation.
Okay.
If we have a big group of people on displaying their works on brand, then I think one Beeline bus will be able to accommodate that. Besides, we have free trolleys.
We have the trolley, yes.
Yeah. So maybe...
Okay.
I'm getting the feeling I don't want to assume, not until I have all the applications in my hands, but this year looks like it's shifting. The Open Studio Tour is shifting from, there are more artists who would like to show from the spaces we will assign them in a group setting than from their own home studios.
Mm-hmm.
I got many calls where people say they're not feeling comfortable opening up their own garages or homes. So at this point, we don't know exactly percentage-wise what we're going to have. Once we have everything and processed it, then mapping will be the next most challenging task in this event.
On a not so serious note, are we going to include that artist from Arizona?
Why not?
I'm
If they find a
thinking
restaurant or
maybe...
we have a location, that's what our goal, right?
Okay.
I have to call this artist and make sure that he knows this is Glendale, California.
Because if
Oh,
not...
he may think it's Glendale, Arizona.
Oh.
It's a one-day event. I mean, that's crazy to come here for one.
The
Well,
big
never know.
two-letter difference, isn't it?
They're lacking in some tourists in Arizona these days, so he may
Really?
need more buyers.
But artists from Ventura's, Orange County, and it's very interesting. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have
And
some
one
friends
other
that said they
thing,
were billing
we
from other places.
must be so proud of our city. We are the only city in this region that offers the Open Studio Tour for free, no cost to artists. I checked with other cities, and An artist from Santa Monica was telling me, they charge about $275 for each artist to be part of city organized events.
maybe in the
maybe
future
that's one of the reasons why everybody would like to come and show.
Well, in the future, maybe, if we become so famous and well-known and they come from all over, why not? It could be a means of revenue for different things. And from what I was listening, following up with the city council meetings, we might have a little bit bigger role in certain decisions in art. So why not? We could produce money for the city as well. That sounds very good.
Is that all from all of us? Next item, please.
Item 6, commission and staff comments.
Commissioner, I always look to Commissioner Wagner, always, because she's always ready to go. She's well prepared.
Well, I already mentioned the relationship with Arts for the Ashes, so I'm excited about that. I wanted to plug the play this weekend, the Stepping Stone Players small theater production, The Foreigner, at Hoover High School in their Black Box Theater Friday and Saturday nights, and at 2, I think, on Saturday. I'm going to be in Sacramento, so I'll miss that, and I'll miss this production, the showing that we learned about earlier this afternoon. And I wanted to say that we had the pleasure at our last board meeting of having the check from the Burbank Airport presented to the district, and we got to see our 3 winners and a little view of their work. And they did share, Lucy Bergdorf shared slides of the artwork as it's displayed last year's, at the airport, both on the tower and inside along the walkway. So, as I said at our meeting, it's one of our more delightful
jobs.
Yes, one of our good jobs. So it really, I was happy to see the artwork again.
On the tower, Burbank Tower?
Well, on just at the meeting, the small versions, but I look forward to the tower version.
As do we. Any other comments? Commissioner Deaver?
Sure. I want to mention that the Glendale Youth Orchestra has their season finale this coming Sunday at 7 o'clock at the Alex Theater, and I believe you can call the Alex for tickets for that. Also had an opportunity to see the Positive Motions concert series for all our mothers through the Glendale Philharmonic, and I absolutely recommend that everybody go and partake of their I want to say productions, but probably a better term for that, but for their musical presentations. Thank you very much. Really fantastic artists and involved with that. Another thing that's come up, there is a Ring Festival happening, and as part of that, there is an opera being presented actually at the Pasadena Playhouse facility. And I know that there is an artist, one of the opera singers is a Glendale resident that is in there. It's actually in my neighborhood, so I have little cards for that if anybody's interested. It's the I don't speak German, but it is the Fairies. And you can get tickets information at www.diefeenopera.com. Those are productions for June 11th through the 19th. Also, for our commissioners here, we will be sending out another e-newsletter in June, and would love input from all of you, either about topics specifically that you'd like to see covered, if you would like to just sort of express your thoughts about the arts or things that you would like to communicate out there. We welcome your input for that. And finally, a couple things that have come up repeatedly, both today and the past, I believe, with the Glendale Arts Association, is this need for space. And I know that the city is talking a lot. We've got the art and vacant storefronts. There's discussion about a municipal gallery. There's the open studio tours. But there is always clearly a need for permanent space for artists, whether it's for living and working, if it's for displaying, if it's for the creation of art, if it's for performances. And I would love to see that agendized at some point at a future upcoming meeting, just for discussion purposes, so that we can talk about ways that we might be able to help put artists together with property owners, or look about the creation of facilities within the city of Glendale that can be a place where artists can come together to produce and show and have that kind of energy here in Glendale. Those are my comments.
You mean this is going to be like affordable spaces for artists?
I just for a discussion about, because it keeps coming up, we're hearing it here from visual and performing arts, this particular need, and I think it's a discussion that as a commission we should have about what we might be able to recommend or suggest or that.
Along that line, perhaps we might ask the city council what we might be able to do to support their efforts. They're having these conversations. How could we, as either individuals on the Arts Commission or as a commission, assist? Scout neighborhoods. I don't know what, I don't know what their ongoing efforts are, but it seems like,
Well,
we're here to help.
right. I just want to make sure that we don't start a discussion.
Okay.
That's all I'm
this
warning
is
us.
just to plan for
Absolutely.
the agenda.
But that will definitely be a consideration of mine in the next agenda. Any other comments?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Just I would like to thank City of Glendale again for the Week of Remembrance. It was a phenomenal event put together. Man's in Humanity to Man did his 2 productions, which was nice, very good, and it was very informative. I heard from the Paula Devine from the Status of Women that we were very courageous because with modern day slavery and women trafficking, when I told her that we had about 30, 40 people in the audience, she said, "Oh, you guys are," and we were like kind of disappointed. And she said, "Well, when we did it, we had only 5." So good for you guys, and that's great. And the April 23rd was unbelievable, and whoever has seen that night's event, everybody talks. It's forever after in all different communities of the level of the work presented and the actors and the producers and the way it was put together and the candlelight vigil and all that. It was wonderful, and I need to specifically thank Rich Wells and GTV6 because they have become, I think there's going to be a competition between them and the PBS or something of that nature because the way they tape things and the way they put it together and edit it and present it, it is so elaborate. I felt so good. It's like, we belong to a city that has a TV that presents things the way everything professionally done. I am really want to salute all of them for putting together this kind of events and for having such a wonderful way of repeating things and showing to the community that could not come because some of the events were during the week and parents have their kids to take care of homeworks and etc. So to have it on TV has helped a lot of people and to have it on the web as well. So now people from all over are contacting regarding what the City of Glendale has done, and Mayor Najarian and Councilman Frank Quintero who have chaired. They did a phenomenal job, and all the committee members of both the main committee and the MIM committee. Thank you very much for all of that. Thank you.
Commissioner Lee?
Along those same lines, I attended both of them, but unfortunately I couldn't stay for one of them. And to me, it was a good turnout. And even one of them, I brought my kids, although it wasn't the right topic, but... But along those lines, I feel proud to be part of this group for putting on these type of events. So, and then now to put on my other hat, Lotus Festival, July 10th and 11th. And you can go to the City of LA Rec and Park site. They have a site for the Lotus Festival. So, something to do in the summer. Those be perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
If I can remind everyone, the deadline for our e-newsletter information will be end of this month. So if you have any important news regarding arts, if you have a message to the arts community, please send everything to me by the end of this month. So beginning of June, we will put together the e-newsletter and send it out on time. Thank you.
Great. Okay. I'd like to echo my colleagues' comments about the MIM event. I thought it was, for the limited time that we had, I think we did a phenomenal job of planning things out and making sure that it ran its course properly. Wow, I'm having a lot of thoughts in my head right now. I don't know which one to say. I wanted to mention that one of actually our MIM colleagues, Armina Lamana, who's come here several times to give presentations, she's making her directorial debut after coming back from teaching at Temple University. She's going to be directing The Maid by Jean Genet on May 29th is opening night at 7 p.m. at the Eclectic Company Theater in North Hollywood. The address there is 5312 Laurel Canyon, again in North Hollywood. So that's May 29th. I feel like I'm on a recording or something. At 7 p.m. The Maids by Jean Genet. I thought I had something else to say, but yes.
She wants people to RSVP because there are only 44 seats in that theater.
Okay. That means I should RSVP then.
Yes.
Because I plan on going there.
Well, let's all go together.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. Anyone else? No, I'm kidding. We can hash that out after the meeting. This may be childish on my part to say this, but the other day I was sitting down and I had a piece of paper in front of me and I thought to myself, I used to draw a lot, and I hadn't drawn for years, literally years, from my young age, years, and I just thought to myself, I said, what would happen if I sat down and drew something? What would come out? And I surprised myself. I actually drew a dog that looked like a dog, and my reason for saying this is that art exists in all of us, and if we don't give it the opportunity to present itself, try writing a poem. Actually, one of my friends knows I've been on like a poetry writing streak. She constantly threatens me. She goes, "I'm going to collect these one day and publish them," to which I say no, and that's why she doesn't get a hard copy. So it's in all of us, and if we don't sit there and really give ourselves a chance to do that, to make it come out of us, it'll never appear. So my ending comment for this month is that we should all try to look for arts within ourselves because it exists. So go out there and write a poem, go out there, write a novel, write a piece of music, play piano, something. Enjoy yourselves. That's my comment. Next item, please.
Item 7, written communications.
Really? No written communications?
Too many.
Wow. We should keep like a tally of how many months in a row we have not had written communications. All right, and the next item is adjournment. All right, we are adjourned.
Now that we're off the air.